Sister Wives Kody Brown misses kids' adoration of him, not them. After 19 seasons on TLC, all Sister Wives viewers can point to specific incidents where Kody Brown proved he needed to be the center of attention. From hogging the dance floor to making important family events about himself, many viewers toss around the narcissist label online. Outside of Robin's 5 children, Kody rarely speaks about his kids on screen these days. In fact, he even said he wouldn't put Robin aside to repair relationships with any of his estranged children. Now, several viewers have concluded that Kody Brown doesn't seem to care much for his children. He simply misses the adoration they gave him when they were younger. Reddit users realized something sinister about Kody Brown. Throughout the past several seasons, Kody Brown insisted he needed to prioritize his relationships with his youngest children. However, most believe he solely meant Solomon and Ariella. He never seemed interested in his daughter Truly, even though she is a minor too. After all these years, viewers now believe Kody Brown loves adoration more than he loves his children. Kody doesn't miss his children. He misses their love, one Sister Wives viewer posted on Reddit. They attached a screenshot from season 19 of him saying, "I miss the love of the children and that's it." And while most Redditors agreed this was incredibly telling of his character, others drew a different meaning. One Reddit user simply put, *adoration. Kody isn't capable of love. More than anything, most Sister Wives viewers think the family patriarch just wants the attention that comes with parenthood. Other users wrote, "He misses the power that comes with being head of the cult. Whoops, I meant family. I think it's the same reason he dotes on the little kids. He wants them to view him on a pedestal. That fades as the kids get older, and it's gone from many of the adult kids. They see how he really is, and he can't stand that. He misses how they make him feel. Narcissists mistake this for love." Is the Sister Wives star becoming more self-aware? Over the years, viewers have watched Kody Brown behave ridiculously year after year. But is it possible that he's becoming more aware of his words and actions? It's like it's a real different world, the world that I have with Robin and our children. It's kind, it's pleasant, it's beautiful, he realized during a confessional. I got to admit this, I think I need a lot of attention. It's been different to be in a place where I don't get as much attention. However, viewers immediately noticed Kody didn't have anything to say about missing specific children or anything about them. Kody Brown sat in the quiet of his expansive Flagstaff home, the space feeling eerily empty despite its size. Once, the laughter, footsteps, and chatter of his 18 children filled every corner of his world. But now, the silence was deafening. He had always envisioned himself as the patriarch of a thriving, harmonious family, the respected and adored leader whose children would look up to him with unwavering admiration. Yet, as he stared at the fading photographs of family gatherings scattered across the living room shelves, he couldn't help but feel the sting of a different reality. For years, Kody had thrived on being the center of his children's universe. He relished the way their eyes would light up when he entered the room, the way they'd clamor for his attention during family outings, and the way they'd look to him for guidance and approval. But as the kids grew older, their once adoring gazes shifted. They began to see him not as the infallible hero he fancied himself to be, but as a flawed human being. The realization was jarring, even painful, for a man who prided himself on being the linchpin of his sprawling family. Kody picked up a framed photo of a long-ago Christmas morning. In it, his children were gathered around a brightly lit tree, their faces alight with joy as they tore into presents. He remembered how they had all shouted, "Thank you, Dad," as if he alone had been responsible for their happiness that day. It was moments like those that made him feel invincible, indispensable. But those days felt like a distant memory now. Many of his children had grown into independent adults with lives and families of their own, while others had grown distant, choosing to spend less and less time around him. He couldn't ignore the elephant in the room. His relationships with his children had soured over the years, particularly during the turmoil of his failing marriages. The public unraveling of his polygamous unions had not just strained his relationships with his wives, but had also deeply impacted his children. Cristin, the mother of 6 of his kids, had been the first to leave, her departure setting off a domino effect. Watching their mother's heartbreak and resilience had caused many of the children to question Kody's role in their family's disintegration. "They don't see everything I've sacrificed for this family," Kody muttered to himself, setting the photo back down. "They don't understand how hard it is to be in my shoes." But deep down, he knew that wasn't entirely true. His children had seen more than he cared to admit. They'd witnessed the arguments, the favoritism, and the growing divide between him and her mothers. They'd felt the sting of his absence during critical moments in their lives, his attention often monopolized by Robin and her children. And they'd grown weary of the narrative he seemed intent on spinning, one where he was always the victim, misunderstood, and underappreciated. Kody's phone buzzed on the coffee table, pulling him out of his thoughts. He glanced at the screen to see a message from Robin. She was out running errands but had texted to remind him about an upcoming appointment for one of their kids. He sighed and set the phone back down without responding. Even his relationship with Robin, once his strongest and most stable, felt strained these days. The weight of their family's fractured dynamics was taking its toll on everyone. He thought back to a recent conversation he'd had with Janelle, who had always been one of the more pragmatic and level-headed of his wives. They'd been discussing their children, particularly Garrison and Gabriel, both of whom had grown increasingly distant from Kody in recent years. Janelle had been blunt, as was her way. "You mean to reach out to them, Kody," she'd said, "not to lecture them, not to defend yourself, but to really listen to them. They feel like you've prioritized your own needs over theirs, and they're hurt." Kody had bristled at her words, his pride flaring up. But later, in the quiet moments of reflection, he knew there was truth in what she'd said. He'd spent so much time trying to maintain control, to assert his authority as the family's patriarch, that he'd lost sight of what truly mattered: the relationships themselves. The truth was, Kody missed the adoration of his children more than he missed the children themselves. He longed for the days when they hung on his every word, looked up to him as their hero, and believed in his vision for their family. But those days were gone, replaced by a more complex reality where his children were no longer wide-eyed kids but individuals with their own opinions, perspectives, and in some cases, grievances against him. Kody's thoughts turned to Solomon and Ariella, his youngest children with Robin. They were still young enough to see him through rose-colored glasses, to run to him with their problems and look up at him with unfiltered love. But he knew it was only a matter of time before they, too, would grow up and start seeing the cracks in his armor. The thought filled him with both dread and a sense of urgency. He didn't want to repeat the mistakes he'd made with his older children. He resolved to try, at least, to mend some of the broken relationships. He'd start small: a phone call to Logan to ask about his new job, a visit to Maddie and Caleb to spend time with their kids, an apology to Gabriel for the harsh words exchanged during their last argument. He didn't expect immediate forgiveness or a return to the way things once were, but he hoped it could be a step in the right direction. Still, as Kody sat alone in the quiet of his home, he couldn't shake the nagging feeling that what he truly missed was not just the connection with his children, but the way their adoration had validated him. Without it, he felt unmoored, unsure of his place in the family he'd worked so hard to build. For the first time in a long time, Kody Brown found himself confronting a question he'd avoided for years. Who was he without their admiration? And was he willing to change to find out?